Florida has a well-developed tourism infrastructure that is developed around its natural and man-made attractions. Unlike other states within the United States, Florida offers a wide array of activities and destinations that fascinate both the young and the old. Our overall endpoint is an increase in tourism numbers specifically fielded from South Africa. However, this goal will not be met without challenges. The first phase of our testing and validation process includes a strategic analysis of the category and competitive messaging. Starting with the internal environment regarding the state of Florida, then conducting a consumer analysis for the target market in South Africa, and lastly, a competitive analysis of our proposed products. As an initial step, we will size the specific addressable markets based on relative size, gross sales, type of services needed or to be leveraged, and other factors that might be a part of the decision-making process. The beginning of the millennium was marked with continued growth in the tourism industry, eventually leading to the state becoming the leading tourist destination in the world. Between 2002 and 2014, a 33% increase in tourism has led to total annual visitors nearing the 1 billion mark. When looking at overseas visitors, a numerical value of 11.5 million visitors in 2014 appears to be very minimal, especially when compared to domestic patronage. Only upon further investigation and analysis that one can determine the resultant 260% increase for the same period. The substantially higher overseas growth rate will undoubtedly have significant effects on the total rate in the next decade, as overseas rates are exponential and total growth rates have been incremental. Performance is the overall impact of tourism on the state of Florida economically. The economic effects of increasing visitors have also been felt in an accelerated way. Over the same 2002 to 2014 period, tourist spending increased by 50%, netting cash inflows and tax revenues of $76.1 and $4.6 billion, respectively, for 2014. Both spending and job creation were minimally impacted by the recent recession. Barring slight reactionary reductions in 2009, the subsequent period was marked with growth. The unique business cycle that the tourism industry follows allowed for it to be the only job sector in the state creating new jobs at that time. Since the global economic crisis, a 50% increase in overseas citizen travel to Florida may indicate that conventional economics do not apply, and domestic economic conditions are not affecting foreign travel negatively. Tourism is one of the top employment sectors for Florida residents. The increase in spending was met with employment in the industry growing by over 20% to nearly 1.2 million jobs. Tourist attractions are composed of a wide array of diversity, including educational and cultural points of interest, relaxing and leisure activities, and family-friendliness fun. Interestingly enough, cultural activity participation overlaps with 75% of all tourism. The substantial growth of the tourism industry in Florida over the last few decades necessitated changes in the level of direct responsibility by the state. The sheer volume of patronage required promotional duties to be carried out by subject matter experts. while traditional regulatory concern remained with the government. The creation of the Florida Commission on Tourism's nonprofit corporation, Visit Florida, provides this expertise and marketing activities where conventional government agencies cannot. To supplement the large-scale strategy of Visit Florida's oversight, other specialized tourism associations exist to leverage their industry expertise. The Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, FCCA, focuses on improving and refining the boat-going cruise industry within the state. The Florida Attractions Association, FAA, organizes many of the mid-level attractions in Florida with 110 members. As the budgets for marketing and promotion are not as high as the major theme parks, members share these functions through advocacy and cross-promotional functions. Additionally, state legislative issues affecting the tourism industry as a whole are monitored and addressed through its political arm, FAPAC. Under the informal consolidation of Florida's marketing and promotional programs, unifying strategic goals are apparent. Job creation is emphasized due to the significant economic dependence the industry places upon the state. Maximizing and increasing market shares, both domestically and internationally, creates an environment where integrated marketing efforts are required to be effective, where countless market segments require properly oriented messaging. Finally, efficiency in the industry is prioritized to reduce redundancy, facilitate growth, and allow for proper orientation in a dynamic market. While South Africa's gross domestic product, GDP, per capita is low for a population of 52 million, it has an increasing trend as their middle class is quickly growing. They speak a variety of languages and have diversified reasons for travel both domestically and all over the world. The country of South Africa is considered an emerging market, and as its economic conditions have improved, so have the rates at which its citizens travel. Growth in travel is supported by growth in GDP over the last decade, which has increased by 3.5%. This has led to markets within the country that share many of the same characteristics as most developed countries. Target segments of those who travel can be characterized as well-educated, financially independent, enjoy new experiences or cultures, and tend to seek excitement. It is also advantageous that the traveling demographic primarily speaks English and travels outside of South Africa for the purpose of leisure. Since 2009, net growth in total outbound travel equates to 5%. When leveraged against rates of travel to Europe for the same period, it's only 1% more than European rates. What is significant is the comparison in the decline in travel rates in 2013. While rates to Europe were reduced by 8%, those to the rest of the world only reduced by 4%. This still indicates strong propensity for travel according to total growth over the last 5 years to all places other than Europe. The decrease in European travel presents an opportunity to increase travel to Florida, as the United States is the 5th most aspirational destination for South Africans, with European countries ranking in the top 4. However, the United States is currently the 3rd most actual visited country. Top peak travel time is May to September and the month of December, with each trip ranging from 7 to 10 days. Florida is a one-stop shop for visitation, as it meets the top desires that South Africans have when traveling. However, only 28% of South Africans are experienced international travelers. Finally, like most middle-class citizens, South African travelers take both financial and opportunity cost as well as familiarity of destination as inputs into destination choices. In order to more effectively draw South African travelers to Florida, competitive conditions must be first identified and addressed, the most predominant being geographic distance from the African continent. Modes of travel are significantly less to the continental United States when compared to Western Europe, 21 versus 150 flights per week respectively. Additionally, cultural influence is also increased through European proximity. This is due to both the colonial history between the two continents and the substantial history of Europe itself. However, visa requirements have been tightened in Europe and are now on par with U.S. immigration requirements. This is reflective in the recent decline of European visits by South Africans. Local barriers also exist within Florida, which has potential to affect external messaging and awareness. Industry differences between Central and South Florida is further amplified by the various market orientations that resort investors have in the South and the theme parks have in the central part of the state. Additionally, negative publicity of controversial events occurring in the state over the last decade is a powerful counter-view to the positive destination messaging that the Tourism Commission is promoting. Internally, marketing plans of the state will have to be adjusted in response to the mixed messaging and orient to potentially unfamiliar consumers. There are additional internal barriers such as the rainy weather and hurricanes that occur during peak travel time. As one of the top destinations for visitors all over the world, Florida has several strengths that greatly benefit tourism. Branding Florida as an all-encompassing destination denotes a strong experience, which, when tailored correctly, is highly effective in addressing consumer wants and needs. International experience of Visit Florida with specialized global departments will allow for previous lessons learned to be applied to the targeted market while minimizing development costs. Robust marketing mechanisms and organizations can effectively communicate preferred messaging to emerging technological markets. The attraction landscape of this state allows for a multitude of promotional experiences for all demographics and associated budget constraints. Florida has many opportunities that will aid in leveraging already identified strengths. Global aspiration for United States prestige is still relevant to third world and emerging markets. A reduction in South African travel to Europe, which is not representative of total travel, indicates product is interchangeable with loyalty to particular geographical regions. Cultural experience desirability by South African travelers indicates the rich culture history of Florida is marketable. Prioritization of travel for leisure by South Africans nest effectively into the messaging and branding Visits Florida promotes. Just like every market, Florida has weaknesses that need to be acknowledged and overcome. Air is the only viable means of travel to Florida. Direct flights from Johannesburg only arrive in airports in Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and New York. Reliance on domestic hub networks after that may dissuade potential travelers. While international experience of the Florida Commission on Tourism is generally high, there remains a lack of familiarity with the entire continent of Africa. Lack of familiarity with African demographics extends into the individual tourism industries and labor force. Messaging conflict, characterized by differences in South and Central Florida tourism focus, may cause misrepresentation and total in-state promotions. Threats to the increase in South African tourism in Florida include colonial ties to Europe and specifically the United Kingdom, influence factors of familiarity. Europe as a whole exudes substantial cultural influences across the Atlantic Ocean, which must be addressed with precise differentiation marketing. Reductions in travel to Europe are due in part to factors in Asian tourism industry influence, specifically Southeast Asia. As an emerging market, South Africa is also developing and refining its trade relationships with the rest of the world. Advantage and influence is garnered by those nations that facilitate close trade ties. Our goals and objectives for increasing South African tourism in Florida will start with the creation of the Go Get 'em team. This team will be comprised of representatives from all tourism-related partnerships and will be the voice of Florida in South Africa. The committee will organize and increase Florida's inspirational presence in the South African travel market over the next 3 years. The Go Get 'em team will start by having a convention with the top travel agents and associated companies to show them firsthand what Florida has to offer. With their help, we can create tailored packages that will cater to the needs of the South African traveler with peak season and off-season specials. We then can have special conventions in South Africa showing other travel agents and or associated companies as well as the public what Florida has to offer. South African travelers use travel agents because they trust them. We need to build trust among the travel agents first, and then build a strong, continued relationship with them, which will only further grow the Florida tourism. The financial relationship with the travel agents will be reviewed by the Go Get 'em committee and presented to the board for approval after all matters have been considered. Partnering with local travel agents will be a key factor to driving Florida tourism sales in South Africa. Over 75% of South African tourists book their travels abroad through travel agents that they feel comfortable with. Forming established partnerships with the travel agents would be the key to success. The objective for the Go Get 'em team is to go after a specific targeted market and will use the criteria that we already have as well as any useful information we gain through our interactions with this target market. Primarily, South African travel is done by adults, and on average, South Africans only travel with 1 to 2 people in their party. This is the largest demographic in South Africa and will be the target market, along with repeat travelers and customers that have established long-term relationships with Florida partners. The vastly growing middle class provides the most opportunity for increased tourism. Making Florida a household name among South Africans will get them talking, thinking, and interested in opportunities and activities in Florida. We will take the Discover Florida and Visit Florida ads, in addition to ads that are targeted specifically for South Africans, and run them in the local media. Local media can include, but is not limited to, television, radio, tabloids, billboards, local transport depots, as well as similar mediums. This could include some special appearances or notifications on both the popular radio and television segments discussing the key strengths of Florida tourism spots. The main reason for travel, specifically to the United States in 2013, was centered around vacationing at 31% and visiting family and friends at 29%. In 2013, shopping was by far the most preferred activity to do when visiting the United States. Other activities that South Africans enjoyed while traveling were sightseeing, fine dining, national monuments, and amusement parks. Advertising key points of interest, such as the Kennedy Space Center, will show South Africans that Florida has attractions that are in line with their travel desires. Product strategy will begin with a branding entitled Travel Florida. Travel Florida is a product that we are offering in all-inclusive trips to the Sunshine State with hassle-free travel plans. Our travel packages will include hotel stays, tickets to, and travel between many of the attractions and destinations in the state. South Africans are oftentimes overwhelmed with the vast amount of options that they have while visiting here, and we want to be the firm that takes all the guesswork out of their travel plans. We will initially offer 3 all-inclusive packages that will highlight different areas of the state, depending on what the traveler would like to see while visiting. Each of these packages will originate in Orlando. Each package will include a 2-week stay, including travel days. Travel Florida is happy to help plan these various packages for the discerning and adventure-seeking South African traveler. Package A encompasses Orlando, Tampa, and Miami. This package starts off with 5 days at any of the theme parks in the Orlando area. Hotel stays can be made at many of the Disney hotels in the area. Then we offer 3 days and 4 nights in the Tampa area where travelers can experience other theme parks, the white sandy beaches of Florida's Gulf Coast, and explore the local culture and shopping. After concluding the stay in Tampa, travelers will head to Miami, Florida's premier nightlife destination. While there, Travel Florida can accommodate different adventures during the day, such as a deep-sea fishing or a thrilling airboat ride in the world-famous Everglades National Park. Package B encompasses Orlando, Miami, and Key West. It includes a stay in Orlando parallel to what Package A features. Miami is the next destination, which has many local attractions, including places such as the Everglades, Little Havana, and the Design District, and the world-famous South Beach. South Beach is where white sand and clear blue skies come together in the day, and the nightlife is second to none. And if this wasn't enough, the next few days will be filled with sightseeing and the unique culture of the Florida Keys and Key West. As the southernmost point in the United States, Key West is famous for water sports, lively nightlife, beaches, and historic sites. Lastly, Package C will include Orlando, Cape Canaveral, and Key West. This package mimics both Package A and B with stays in Orlando and Key West. Between them, though, will be a day trip to Cape Canaveral and the Kennedy Space Center, the home to America's space program. This adventure is sure to be a hit with both young and old. This wonderful day trip will include a one-night stay in lovely Fort Lauderdale, where tourists can explore the nightlife before traveling to Key West the next day. Amongst all packages, activities in each area are included in the price, as well as transportation between destinations. Our differentiating strategy is the fact that we act as travel concierges, customizing each individual package to the tastes, budgets, and desires of each individual traveler and their family. What we are able to offer is the ability to customize your vacation from the adventurous to the laid-back, family-friendly to romantic, and all the while seeing some of the best that Florida has to offer. Our fully pre-planned itinerary will make travel to Florida very easy and take all of the guesswork out of vacation and plans. We also offer other discounts through our preferred vendors for adventures that other travelers might not have access to. Our pricing strategy is to offer inclusive travel service that will beat anything those individuals could obtain on their own. Our discounts that we will be able to offer come from vendor partners, our relationship with the Florida Travel Council, and the resorts themselves. Our unique knowledge of the market will position us to be the best eyes and ears for travelers from South Africa to the Sunshine State. This will save them time, money, and above all, the frustration of trying to schedule a vacation. With this service, we will also believe that we will not only establish new customers, but also have repeat customers due to the fact that we offer such a great service. In order to effectively implement and create these packages, all partners will have to be on board. After the packages are established, they will be promoted through various channels, including salespeople. The following controls will be established to ensure everything is on track to increase South African tourism in Florida and ensure the increase is economically beneficial to all partners involved. It will be important to examine sales reports during regularly scheduled meetings and to ensure products and services are selling well. Additionally, customer feedback will be utilized to ensure there is a high level of customer satisfaction. Market share and financial analysis will conclude if the marketing plan and products are successful in increasing South African visitors and revenue to the state of Florida. In the aftermath of a recession that has affected Florida more than any other state, tourism will help spur an influx of revenue to the state while also simultaneously increasing jobs. Since South Africa is a growing population desiring to travel, we have decided that a target focus within its African nation can help to stimulate tourism growth within Florida. We will attempt to capitalize on our strengths and opportunities and lessen the effects of our weaknesses and threats. This initial plan will give us an opening into the South African traveling population.